Hola, soy Nuria Jimenez y estás viendo el blog de los miércoles, el blog de los miércoles, el blog de los miércoles, el mejor blog si te quieres enterar de toda la movida de stand-up comedy que está sucediendo en Uruguay y Parker, basta, en parte del extranjero. Este blog es muy especial, es el primero de 2016. Parker. Y además este video está filmado en Seúl, sí, en Seúl, donde queda en Corea del Sur, donde estuve pasando pues unos días en estas vacaciones y conocí a un comediante y una gran persona que es Rudy Tyburczy. Rudy Tyburczy. Rudy es un comediante que hace unos 6 años, él es de Estados Unidos, hace unos 6 años que está viviendo en Corea del Sur y junto con otro compañero y amigo, Jeff Sinclair, gestionan un show mensual que se llama Stand Up Seúl. Esta entrevista además es especial porque traté de hacerla en inglés. Entonces, antes que nada, pedirles disculpas por mi inglés, por los subtítulos que puede que no sean muy exactos y porque también está un poquito desordenada la entrevista. ¡Parker y la hermana, basta! La entrevista está un poquito desordenada. Soy comediante, no sé editar videos. Entonces lo hice lo mejor que pude. Sé que van a saber entenderlo y si no, se aceptan ayudas. Así que si alguien me quiere echar una mano con la edición de videos, bienvenido sea. Y con el inglés, espero que lo disfruten.
In high school, I studied Spanish, and I was named the best Spanish student in my class.
Oh, good.
So I spoke Spanish.
And what do you
decently.
remember?
Nada.
Well, enough.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't really love a formulaic joke writing style, and I don't have that. I'm not very good at it. The base of my jokes are always something that I write down or experience that I notice that I think is interesting. It's not a joke. I don't write down a joke. Sometimes I have a funny idea and I write that down, but I just write down what I think is interesting about where I am. Or
Interesting, but not necessarily funny.
Exactly. It shouldn't be funny.
Okay.
Like the goal of comedy, of comedians, is to make the not funny. I don't have to search for like funny. I search for something that's interesting or moving to me. You know. So
the first thing we learn, the way we are learning now in Uruguay, is that it doesn't matter about what you write; it has to be fun.
Really?
And you can speak about any kind of topic,
Yeah.
but the objective of your job must be make people laugh.
Right. Yeah, exactly. See, I think if you start with the laugh, that can train you negatively. Because I think audiences respect and want somebody who's honest before they're funny.
Yeah.
In a weird way. I think if you write a joke and it doesn't get a laugh, then you train yourself to think I'm a failure. And I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think comedy takes time. I think original comedy takes a lot of time. Yes, there are formulas to write jokes, and some of those are helpful. You need those so that when you perform without writing a script, you can create jokes in the moment, which I think is preferable.
One day you can say, I want to learn how to write stand-up comedy. You just start trying?
I guess, yeah. Before I came to Korea, I did improv comedy and sketch comedy, like with university troops and university friends, and that's what I did for a couple years. Well, I lived in Korea for 1 year, 2008. I left in 2009, and then I came back in 2010. And when I returned in 2010, I started to do improv and, for the first time, stand-up. I had never done stand-up, and I just wanted to. And so My first time doing stand-up was at an open mic where you performed the other day at Tony's, but at that time it was mostly poets.
Mostly what?
Poets.
Poets.
Poems. People wrote poems.
Yeah.
So it was just spoken word, not comedy. And it was...
But did they know the difference?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's like 8 women talking about their beautiful womanly bodies and parts, and I'm like, and then I just go up there and make some stupid dick jokes, and that was the first time I ever got on stage for.
And did they laugh?
Not really, and that's okay. I think if people laugh too much from the beginning, then I don't know. And that stuff can be important. That stuff has its place. It's important to have the framework down, and there's some science behind it, and you can study it, and you can learn something from that. But at the same time, that's not how my brain works best. That's not how I learn best. And so I want to have an experience like you. Like you're saying, I want the audience to feel something that I'm feeling and identify with me as a person, and then they kind of forget that this is a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to feel like just a conversation. It's kind of a trick. It's like it feels like a conversation, but no, I'm the only one talking.
There's also examples like Leandro Ureta, who has a lot of jokes about shit and penis stuff and things like that. So I like to see that because I hate the topic, but I love how he
handles it.
Provokes love by the energy, by the and it's great. People laugh a lot about about topics that I don't want to hear more about that, but I can't stop laughing. It's different ways that it's beautiful to see.
I totally agree. I try not to be blue. So when you write about dirty jokes, dicks and butts and stuff, that's called blue, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. I try not to write too blue, but I do. Like those are my experiences. That's what I laugh about. That's what happens. I fail. With relationships and with sex and all these things. And so I think that's more interesting, and that's something that everybody knows about. Right.
Okay, you have a Twitter, and I saw in your Twitter that you are very good at one-liners.
Not really. I mean, I sometimes write just ideas down. Twitter is I have lost hundreds of jokes because I saved them in drafts on Twitter, and then Twitter erased them. So I don't know why that is. But because I don't write a lot of one-liners, or I don't say a lot of one-liners on stage, I put them in Twitter and save them in there, and I don't always just publish them. But Twitter is good for that because it helps you to write one-liners. That's what it is, right? And how I like editing. When I write my own personal writing, or when I read essays from students, I like editing. I like that process. It's fun to take out words and to see what fits, what makes the most sense. And so Twitter is that you only have 140 characters. So it's nice to try to reword a joke and that kind of thing, but I don't often use ideas from Twitter on stage. But sometimes
I tried, for example, yesterday we went to a shopping, the Korean, maybe you can help me with that points, right?
Yeah, okay. I'll try.
A Korean seller, a Korean vendor, who's selling you stuff in the shopping.
Yeah, like a vendor, a shop.
Yeah, a Korean vendor. And it reminds me a lot the joke you said about LG, good, Chinese, not good.
Yeah.
Because I said, well, he said, where are you from? I'm from Spain. Oh, salam alaikum. And I was like, many people, I guess, I don't consider myself racist.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I was feeling like Isabel la Católica.
Yeah.
I was like, what? No, no salam alaikum.
Yeah.
Hola, buenos días.
Yeah. No, we talk a lot about, as foreigners, as outsiders here, you talk a lot about race and racism, and here I experienced racism as a white person, which is a really strange thing. In that situation, he says, where are you from? You say Spain. He says, assalamu alaikum. You say, where are you from? He goes, Korea. And you go, oh, konnichiwa.
Yeah, I should say so.
And he's like, oh, no, yeah.
¿Cuándo y cómo empezaste en la comedia?
I started stand-up comedy here in Korea.
Uh-huh.
And I never really remember how long ago it was. But if I think about it, I guess it was about 6 years ago. 2010, February or March of 2010. I just started here at a tiny little open mic, and I really loved it from the beginning, and I was lucky to, here it's a small scene, and so there are not a ton of opportunities to get on stage and perform, but there's a good amount, and I know in
How many stages do you know here in Seul?
In Seoul, I don't know. It depends. My goal in I think 2012 was to do 10 performances a month for the entire year, and I met that goal in San Francisco. I got on December 26th, I think. I got the 120th and 121st performances of the year for me. So that was 4 years ago, but that was throughout Korea and other countries, and so there are opportunities, but I can't perform every night, you know what I mean? I can't. Sometimes it's once a week.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 4 times a week, you know what I mean? It varies, and so
and the majority of that shows are managed by American people.
Yeah. And so myself, I currently, Stand Up Seoul is run by me and my roommate, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff Sinclair, great Canadian guy, best friend here in Korea. And the founder was another Canadian guy named Brian Aylward, and he started it in 2009, I think. And then he left to pursue comedy in Canada and other countries. And so Jeff and I and some other people have taken it over, and we'll organize a monthly show, but then we also bring over professional comedians a few times a year. So that's what our shows go towards. We work to bring over professionals.
Where do you find those professional comedians?
We just send emails. Essentially that's how.
Back to the US or?
Yeah, we find them in the United States. We save up money to bring over comedians a couple times a year, and I mean that's expensive. So, but that's awesome. We have brought over some of the best comedians working today, and I'm really lucky that we've done that, and now those guys know us, and we're friends.
But you save money to do that from the shows, or also you have to save from your pocket to bring?
We don't go out of pocket to bring over and pay for those expenses, but we don't make money either. It's not like a big business for us. A lot of people do expect that, and it's a full-time job. A lot of the time when we have shows, we're selling tickets, we're organizing locations, we're getting chairs, we're getting lights, and then on top of that we host the show or we perform in the show. We have to get the other acts, we're at the door giving out tickets, and I love doing that. I love being a part of the whole entire process. And we have help from so many wonderful people here in Seoul. There's a lot of great comedians and friends who perform and take tickets and set up chairs and help us with contacts, or our Korean friends who are comedians as well will help us get in touch with, Korean speaking locations and things like that. So, we have monthly shows, weekly shows, and then shows every, let's say, season,
La entrevista no termina aquí. La tuve que dividir en 2 partes porque me lleva mucho tiempo el tema de los subtítulos. El próximo miércoles tenemos la segunda parte de la entrevista a Rudy. Espero que te haya gustado. Me encantaría saber tu opinión sobre todo lo que dice Rudy desde su punto de vista, obviamente, desde una persona que ha sido criado y crecido en la cuna del stand-up y que ahora está tratando de abrir camino en un país donde no solo no hablan su idioma, sino que no está establecido, no hay una tradición propia. ¿Qué opinas al respecto? ¿Te gustaría que habláramos de otros temas? Mándame tus ideas, todo es bienvenido. Y quiero que vayas ahora mismo a mi página web www.standupcomedy.ui, justo debajo del blog. Dejas tu comentario, tu opinión. En mi blog escrito hay información y enlaces a algunas de las referencias que hemos dado durante la entrevista. Si no te quieres perder el próximo blog, entra a mi canal en YouTube, suscríbete y...
Hi, I'm Maddie.
Dice que es machi, habla en inglés y ahora puedes aprender su idioma con los vídeos de sus aventuras.